It was more than a bad day for stocks. It could be a very bad sign about the true health of our economy. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you. I'm Neil Cavuto. AT&T'd off. 40,000 AT&T union workers are ready to strike Easter Sunday. That's this Sunday. Upset the telecom company is trying to increase their benefit costs and cut back on their pensions. It is very similar to what happened to Verizon back in August. Remember that? Former Verizon Wireless CEO Denny Strigl says for AT&T, this one could be worse. I remember you and I chatting about this.
We did.
Because they were going right to executives' homes.
Oh, they were picketing the CEO's home in New Jersey.
Right,
yes.
and now there are a lot more top executives in and around that little cluster.
That's exactly right.
What's going to happen?
Well, Neil, here's the issue. If you look at AT&T's union members, overall about 60% of their workforce, or about 150,000 of their workers, are in unions. Now, what's happening here is 4 union contracts.
So a higher, not only number, but percentage.
It's a higher percentage overall.
Okay.
In fact, they have union membership in their wireless organization, which Verizon doesn't.
Do they really?
Verizon
I didn't know
doesn't.
that. Okay.
Verizon doesn't. So the ripple effect for AT&T could be very significant here. Now, the 40,000 members may strike, but they can also picket locations that may cause other AT&T workers.
What are they upset about? Is this similar to the kind of cost-cutting efforts that Verizon was leading? I mean, they're not taking benefits away.
Neil, it's almost exactly the same. The issues are that by the way, they're highly compensated people. They know that. Their health care is almost entirely paid for. What the company needs is for them to contribute more to their own health care. They also have a defined benefit pension. Now, in the private sector, very few companies have that anymore.
Right.
And the company needs some break. They need concessions from the union. Why? Because if you look at landline telephones today, they're being disconnected in droves. For the landline telephone companies, of which AT&T has a large part, their revenues are going down and their operating income is taking a nosedive. Why? Competition from cable companies and from wireless companies.
So what does AT&T do? What they're trying to do is rein in these, like in the defined benefits, they're trying to do defined contribution plans, but they're not even getting rid of the defined benefit plans. They're trying to grandfather them in, right? I mean,
Sure.
So how will that be received? Obviously not well.
Typically, Neil, what happens is the workers who have been there continue on with what they have, and new workers who get hired to replace them as they retire go under new and benefits that are less costly to companies. Sure.
So you know what Verizon went through with this last year, post your days of running the company. But what can AT&T look forward to now?
Well, whether the union really strikes or not remains to be seen. I think if they were to strike, I think they're taking a gamble. What happened in Verizon was 45,000 workers went on strike. Their unions called a strike. 2 weeks later, they went back on the job. The workers didn't really want to strike. They knew that they have good wages and good benefits. Fact of the matter is that the union bluffed Verizon. Verizon didn't back down on what they demanded. The union members saw that this could potentially be a very long strike, and they said to their unions, we want to go back to work.
Well, you would think the ones that are associated with the wired, phones would realize their days are numbered anyway if they're not careful. I mean, if you, like you said, landline phones, they're gone.
They're going away, Neil.
So
they're going away.
I wouldn't be pushing right?
Well, the fact of the matter is that they have to change their benefits and eventually their wages. It has to be done because.
But I've really looked at this objectively. No one is taking benefits away. They still get a lot for what
they're asking workers
chip in a little more.
They're asking workers to chip in a little more. By the way, AT&T wireless workers already pay about 20% of their health care costs.
But this is also an election year. As a former CEO yourself, does that play into things for you? You try to be blinders on, but
Neil, of course it does. You are exactly right. Here's the issue: AT&T has more unionized workers than any other company in the United States. And the union can stand to make a point here that they'd like to see ripple across to other companies. What happens at AT&T can happen at many other companies, and that's the battle. Now, the question is, will the union members allow their union to make an example of them?
Right. Well put, well put. Danny, always good having you on because you always manage to tick off people when you're here.
Good to be with you, Neil.
Union people emailing. Denny Strigl, thank you very, very much. Take a look at this.